April 21st, 2026, 6 p.m. at City Hall. We'll start out with a roll call for the record. John,
I'm here.
Alicia,
Here.
I'm here. Brad,
Here.
Clay's absent. Ashley,
Here.
Steve,
Here.
Mr. Tibbs,
Here.
Brad Simmons. Here. We'll have an invocation with Alicia and I'll do the pledge.
Dear Heavenly Father, I just want to thank you for this day you've given each and every one of us, Lord. I just ask that you continue to watch over us and guide us and just be with us, Lord. We give you all the praise and the glory. Amen.
Thank you. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any additions or deletions on the agenda, for the agenda? Hearing none, we'll move on to item 4, discuss and approve the following meeting minutes.
I make a motion. Oh, sorry.
April 7th, 2026.
I make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Motion by Sean, second by Alicia. All those in favor?
Right.
Motion passes. Now we need to delegate, item 5. Someone on council to sign the FP&L letter of credit for renewal at First Bank.
So this is just a formality. We've already had Clay sign this. I forgot that it had to go in meeting minutes, so just,
Make a motion to
Yeah.
let Clay.
yeah, it's for our FPL letter of credit that we have to do every year.
All those in favor of Clay?
Aye.
We got a motion in a second.
I made a motion.
Oh, okay,
I'll second.
You didn't hear him, I guess. Steve.
I didn't.
Okay. You got it.
I had a question about, did we talk about at one time, it's just jogged my memory, doing like a list of our accounts with banks, and we had like a chart where we had started it for maybe CAPFA. Do you remember? It was like maybe 6 months ago. Did we not talk about trying to identify what accounts we had at what bank or anything like that?
No, never.
Yeah, I remember we talked about with CAFA switching some of those other ones in the CDs from Seacoast to First Bank. That's been.
Yeah,
That's
that was
Yeah.
that was just the main account.
Okay, I was just,
I think me and you have talked about
maybe that's what it was.
gathering some of it.
Never mind.
All right, Clay's got that down. Item 6 is addition of Avenue H repaving in the amount of $99,270 to All County National Pavement Management Solutions. Award of NTE $249,985 for street resurfacing projects approved March 17th. So we're gonna add Avenue H.
Yes,
Correct.
at the March 17th meeting, we did approve that to award to the All County National Pavement for the paving of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th streets. To follow up to that, we went out and got a quote for doing Avenue H, which we identified that at the last council meeting. They have provided that quote of $99,270, so we're requesting to add to that. We have been in contact with All National. They're supposed to be out around mid-May to actually do the work. I think they schedule it May 19th,
18th, 19th, 20th.
20th. So they'll be able to do this work while they're mobilized out here doing that paving. So
We're just adding on Avenue H to what we've already.
yes,
approved.
yes.
Are they gonna come around or like a preliminary just to check it or have they?
They come out and checked it and also provided quotes, for doing the work. And like I said, previously they were the lowest quote on doing 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Like I said, now we're adding them on for doing Avenue H.
So, yeah, they were 10,000 or something cheaper.
Mhm.
We need a motion on that.
Motion to approve the addition
We
for the Avenue H.
No second.
have a motion by Felicia and a second by Sean. All those in favor?
Aye. Can we make sure that we post something like when that work begins, you know, like just like a-
Yeah.
something on Facebook, like the dates that we're gonna start, just so that people are aware?
Yep.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Item 7, report of officers. Mr. Tips.
I really don't have too much to report in tonight. We did have for as far as broadband, we, once a month, we have up county, we have a local technology planning group meeting. Basically where we're at as far as Xfinity has extended their project. They were supposed to be done by the end of March. Within the city, they've extended that project. They're still out there working. Obviously, we know that now because they've broken a lot of lines and stuff, but they are, like I said, they did extend their permit, and so they're still working, so I'm not sure we have a completion date on them yet. But like I said, we will tally up a bill for what they have
Yes.
broken, so that we can, the state, there was some additional broadband money released to that BEAD program, which was for unserved and unserved areas. But the lady from Florida Broadband Office was on the meeting today. She's basically saying even though the funding was awarded in February, the state still has not come up with the contracts that goes to the individual companies. That's still in progress, so we don't know what we have coming in that area yet. No, so I think I said unless someone has anything for me.
I understand we had an employee bit by a dog.
Yes, we do.
Yesterday.
What kind of procedures we go through with that?
I called the sheriff's department. The sheriff's department came out. They came with the animal control officer that is now, and of course, keep the dog at their house again.
They left the dog at the house.
This is the second or third incident with the dog.
Yeah, I think I had pictures of the first incident.
Was it documented?
Yes. I mean,
I mean, ours was the other ones.
First one wasn't. I don't know about the second one. That was a lady.
I do believe the first one was documented because they said they were up to date on rabies and all that stuff. I think because of the prior incident,
Hmm.
they had proof of rabies shots on this time.
and we did send the individual. Go checked out to.
Yes, he went right over here to Johnson's. And we're filing a workman's comp claim on it just in case anything else comes from it.
You got stitches?
I don't think it was broken open like that. I wasn't in the office when Melissa seen it, but there was a picture she seen from Brad where he might have just had a little puncture.
Ripped his pants. It broke blood to the skin, but it didn't break the skin.
How did it happen?
There was some debris on the side of the road. He ran the gravel truck. When he got off the gravel truck, the lady opened the gate. They'll come out, bit him.
I did send over the ordinance on the nuisance animals over to the sheriff's department today and to the animal control officer. Sheriff's department told me they're just basically her backup. They can't really enforce anything on their side. That she's the one that's going to be the one that has to enforce any fees or anything of that sort. She told me in email that she was aware of the ordinance and that she was told that the dog was only let out because he followed the owner out. So I don't know exactly the whole situation that happened, but I do know that they do have the ordinances. Mhm.
Jay's leg was really cut up. Yeah.
It-
Mr. Steve?
We had successfully concluded the one code enforcement hearing last week. Uh, And when I was preparing the order, I talked with Ashley about, I know we used to have under contract sergeants for the tows. And obviously they're not in business.
Yeah.
So I asked Ashley to look into entering into a contract with Clewiston Towing, is it?
Yes, and Colleen called them and they want the owner to be available then and there when they get it. So we're gonna have to,
Well,
there's another company.
but yeah, but there's something for a public tow, and then there's something in this case in the event of a private tow.
Mhm.
And that's why it's a court order. So yeah, if there's somebody else you could look to, because the judge gave us the authority to, there was one vehicle untagged and one trailer untagged. And if they weren't removed, I think within 10 days,
Mhm.
10 days of the third.
the judge authorized a tow off the private property and the property owner consented to that. I just wanted to make sure the city didn't wind up with the bill. So I put it in the order that the owner would be responsible for it. So if they're not willing to do that, then we need to look to somebody else if we can. So, but in general, though, I think we need to have a contract for public tows. And then we'll go from there.
Can we look at the people that have the sweat shop?
The only problem is they don't have a place to store the vehicles, and that's why they came here looking for property, if we knew of any property, because that, I think that's hindering them from getting the, I want to say
But our-
FHP or something.
Well, yeah, because FHP, they're in their contract, it states it has to be covered, but
Mhm.
we don't have to, I mean, they have a fenced in.
Yeah, they're not allowed to store things there.
Yeah,
It's not in the
it's
zoning.
not zoned correctly there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, we do have
right.
property that could be used for
Mhm.
that use that is zoned correctly, but they'd have to
Right.
work something out with the property owner. So,
But then the vehicle's still sitting in the city limits. so-
Yeah.
Yeah.
We did make a new junk out there.
but it would be in the proper zone. And if it's not tagged, to be removed from the residential. So it's like pick your poison.
That's a good point.
And the other, I don't have really anything else. I want to let you know, I'm going to be out of state for the next meeting. So I will try to teams in the best I can, or at least check in, and then hopefully that'll go smoothly, but that'll be the meeting on May 4th, 5th, 5th.
Mhm.
That's all I have.
Wouldn't have to be Nevada, would it?
No, Texas.
Ashley?
I don't have anything unless somebody has something for me.
Craig Smith is absent. Ms. Connie?
Ms. Connie. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Good to see everyone.
Who are you? We don't recognize you.
Yeah, I'm sure you don't. Actually, I thought it was gonna be in Tallahassee this week, but it got postponed. So, just to kind of give you a legislative update first. The, seawall project is in the proposed House budget at 50% funding. That's the House's motto. They just put things in at 50%. So, we'll be working when they decide to call a special session for the state budget. We're gonna be working on getting the projects in the budget. This project up to the full ask, and then we're gonna try to get the others into. But, so we'll be working with the House and Senate leadership, our delegation members.
Is there like a potential on that? Say if it's a close question and we can contribute some money through CAPFA, that would sweeten the pot, or is it in that stage of the process, not really worth.
No, because it's based on the forms that were completed and filed and attested to. So there, because we did that step, you're eligible for funding based on those forms. So, any matching money would be more really related to a grant. So at this point, and we don't know how much we're gonna get funded. The fact that it's in the House budget.
But if, let's say we did get 50%, the city wouldn't be precluded from moving forward and putting capital money in, would they?
No, they would not. That would be fine. You will need it. So that definitely would be, and that would be a way for you to complete the project 100%. I can't see it being able to do a seawall for $900,000, to be honest with you. There's a lot of work to do. So, yeah, but our aim is to get full funding. So that's what we're going for.
Sure.
So on April 17th, they had a joint budget committee meeting in Tallahassee, but it was based, they only did it because they had federal grant money coming in, and it was only for certain subjects. So FEMA was there, but after that meeting, there was a press conference with Senate Appropriations Chair Hooper. And he had stated they don't have any agreement on budget allocations yet. He indicated they're not on the same page with the TED silo or the ag silo. So it's still going to be a while. This special session that's coming up next week is the congressional redistricting, and they kind of expanded it. They added artificial intelligence policy to it and medical freedom legislation. So, and that's the scope of the special session for next week. And when they were interviewing Appropriations Chair Hooper about the congressional maps, the Senate doesn't, he said the Senate didn't have a map. And from what I understand, the House doesn't have a map. But during the press conference, they were expecting the congressional maps to come from the governor's office. So I'm not sure anybody has maps. So that remains to be seen. And still no call on the budget or the property tax issue. That's not on has been announced yet or not. So at this point, of the 237 bills that were enrolled during the session, there's 173 left to be presented to the governor. He has 22 on his desk, and 41 have been approved. So they're slowly presenting what's been enrolled to the governor for review. I'll do press conferences on some of the signings, as you all have probably seen. From the grant perspective, the vulnerability assessment, we did get a time extension till June 2027. They have DEP approved task 2 and 3 reports. So now we're eligible to submit a reimbursement request because you have to have a letter saying those tasks have been approved. So I'm collaborating with Ashley and Larry on doing that reimbursement request. And the FDEP quarterly report was already completed and done, as well as the water treatment plant. That quarterly report's been completed. The City Hall hardening report we're still working on. It doesn't have to be in until the 30th. So I'm working with Larry on that. And then we did apply to Congressman Franklin's office for the AMI project, asking for his sponsorship of funding that project. And I looked at his website today. It doesn't look like he has taken it up. That I saw, they did. We did put in for the Countryside Meadows on behalf of the county, and that was listed on the website. So that's kind of where I'm at. Do you all have any questions for me? The one thing that is going to happen when they do the budget, July 1st is going to open up the water quality portal, providing they fund that line item of the budget. They did not last year. So I've got a Word document of last year's questions. So we're going to kind of try to get prepared So, we'll do the AMI again if, and the water projects, that whatever we need to do, we'll be going after those grants again, that portal will open. So we're planning ahead for that one. Anything else?
All right, thank you all very much. Thank you, Connie.
Mr. Brad Simmons.
We already mentioned about the road work. It's gonna be starting in mid-May. That's the repaving. Over on the sewer extension project that they did on the north side of town, when they repaved that, there was nothing in there in the contract for restriping. The roads that are over there, and I think that needs to be done. Divide lines in the middle and stop bars and stop signs. I think there's two of them that need that. But that's something that definitely needs to be added to. I didn't bring it up earlier because I didn't money to do that. But I think this company got coming. They're gonna do their roads anyway, so we just maybe just get that over there to do that. But that definitely needs to be done. We have a couple pavilions around here, at the river and out here in the park. They need revamped. They need redone. So I need to, I'm gonna reach out to some contractors, carpenters, and licensed and see who's interested. I mean, the termites is pretty much even look.
It's out there Thursday. This one out here really
Safe right now, but they're not far from need to be redone. This pavilion out here lead up with them. Need to look at redoing some stuff around the park and out the river. Reaching out and get some quotes on that. Thursday, I'll be taking a visit to Spring Lake to look at their new wastewater facility. Check out what they've got going on. Since the meetings are one at the state. County managers. Take a look at it, see what it looks like.
Yeah, we had a meeting at the sewer plant yesterday. And, I think, at next week's sewer meeting, we're gonna put on the agenda. We need to coordinate with Melissa, but, probably try to set a workshop on what methodology to go with. So we should have a couple alternatives for you.
I have reached out to FWC and they gave me a while back, they gave me a number for the nuisance alligators and things complaining to me about. They came, they didn't see them, so they didn't. I have to get a new one issued for every time they pretty much come out, they don't see nothing.
Yeah, there's some around. I see it's close.
Florida, we live by the river, they're gonna be there.
You know,
Catch one of those who's in.
they're not there at the right time.
I have had a few complaints about them. And they move around. Other than that, that's all I got.
What about the tractor? Right. We have a tractor down last meeting we talked about.
Yes, and it's still that, they're at the Kelly tractor, and I told them don't do anything with it until we decide. Okay, we're getting along right now. I've got a smaller tractor and I'm using.
All righty. Anybody else have anything for Brad?
I do. Brad, thank you for handling that situation in the ball field the other day. And do you think would it be helpful if you can maybe put work order forms out there, and let them fill those work forms out so they don't have to try to call and get something done a day before a game? Maybe get some type of work order in place and they can fill out and bring it up here to you, to your office, to Ashley. And then we won't run into that problem and wait till last minute to get the ball field done.
If that may be helpful, if they'll call them. They,
Yeah.
Ball season 2 weeks from now.
Right. Right. Okay.
It's different. It's always a different regime up there. You get different, they want you to do different things, they want different things done.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard for you guys to get a call the day before a game to go in, and it's, yeah, so maybe get something in place, that they be able to do a work order and like say, hey, this is gonna happen this day or next week, whatever, and then we run into that problem again.
Sounds like a good idea.
I agree.
Anything else? Anyone else? Approval of the bills in the amount of $96,898.27.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by Alicia, approve, and second by Sean. All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes. Pay the bills, huh? Citizens' comments, general concerns, speakers are limited to 3 minutes.
Already did mine.
Hello,
Okay.
I got a couple of things. Jake Eidner, 442 Avenue L. It's encouraging to see some movement as far as the vehicles on code enforcement. It's always been an issue of where you take them to after you do get a wrecking service under contract. But I'd still like to, keep our foot on the gas. As I thought more about it, with the code enforcement, one thing I'm not sure if we're taking full advantage of it. And one of the conversations I had earlier was, like the places on Avenue F that we've always complained about for several years. There's truly code enforcement violations there, but it's not just code enforcement. There's a fire hazard violation there because everything around those places is going to burn before we can get there. And the reason I'm saying this is it's not just the city going over there. It should just be the city, but more than just the city, you've got the health department, you've got, that avenue, you've got a building department as far as to help you with, the windows falling out of the first house here on Avenue J. Some of these other agencies can assist the city with code enforcement. So I'm not sure if we're taking full advantage of those other agencies, and that might be something, Mr. Tibbs to mention. The other thing I wanted to also say was those picnic tables, Brad. At one time we discussed when the termites got into them, maybe move as far as getting the metal awnings like what are at the marina. They last a lot longer, and you just assemble them together, and they don't necessarily have to be on concrete. Some of those don't have concrete. It might be an option for you. The final thing I wanted to say was Alicia commented the previous meeting thanking Joe and all the workers and King for what they did for Chalanika. And we definitely had a better plan this year than we did last year. Several years ago, Mark, if you'll remember, Steve, you'll remember, we talked about redoing the bathrooms down there, and we weren't 30 minutes into it, and the women's bathrooms were going over. In those restrooms, on each toilet, you don't shut the water off. You got to shut the water off to the facility. So that's all the water and everything. In years past, Youth Livestock reached out for a grant. They hustled up the grant and they turned it over to the county to administer the grant. Chalanika Committee isn't as big as Youth Livestock and doesn't have the resources like they do. But I have asked our EDC director and I've asked the county manager if he could kind of look into finding some grant. The bathrooms, we talked about turning them to ADHA. That'd be a lot of money. The same as building a seawall. We've been working on this since 2010, and here we're almost getting there. So I'd like to see if we could reach out, Mr. Tibbs, since Ms. Van Ash is here, to try and find a grant to be put on the list at the next Tallahassee visits to revamp our Chalanika grounds and start with the restrooms. Because the boys stood there pretty much the whole day with mops in their hands, having to go in and out of there, and they were having to turn the water on and off to the facility. It's unfortunate that the facility only gets used once a year. I know it's a lot of money to invest into that, but it is city property, and it could be a lot nicer facility, I believe so. So I'm asking as the representative for economic development and Chalanika Committee to find some type of refurbished grant, restroom grant, whatever,
There's no valve on the outside of that building.
They're on the outside of the building, Mr. Decker, but you know, if the toilet breaks in your house, you just shut the valve off.
Right.
You're gonna shut it off your whole house.
So when they shut that valve off outside the building, there's no water at all around.
No, in the building, in the building, yes, sir.
Turns all the toilets off. So if one's broke, then they're all off.
You know, if we could have just shut the one toilet off, it would have been fine.
Yeah.
And then with not having a female employee there, you know, they had to stand there all day and wait for any women in here so they could take turns running in there and hop in the bathroom. I mean, they did the best they could. And no one fell, no one ever complained about it to me, but it has been something that was on our list years and years ago. Chalanicka's not going anywhere.
How long's that been there? The bathrooms? When was that?
In the eighties, Mr. Patterson, Mr. Beck and, Jerry Harris were big time in developing that facility.
If we have an issue with ADA compliance, we probably need to address that sooner than later.
That's one of my reasons here.
Not worry about a grant.
Yeah,
You don't want to see clear. No violations in that.
I believe.
all right.
And you know, something that would, when we looked at it before, and it was such a huge price, one thing that would last forever is if we put the concrete countertops in there, like what's at the Chalanicka or at the rodeo grounds, those you know, like we wanted to do out here in the bathrooms. So if it does get wet or flood, you're not getting the countertops. Yeah, it'll be a lot easier to clean.
Who did that work?
David's concrete.
Is there a local contractor that can do an evaluation as to what would be needed to make ADA compliance at the bathrooms there? Do we know?
There are several. Yeah.
Hmm?
Yeah, David's concrete, I mean, he's a general contractor, he would, you know, sub a plumber to it, of course. I know Taylor Electric, they're dabbling in plumbing now, one of the boys is, so. As far as local, that would be, Brian Nightingale, he's local, he's done a lot of work for the city.
Mr. Tibbs, is it possible to get somebody to give us a report? And
And you know, by no means am I asking to refurbish the entire bathrooms, you know, I mean, it'd be lovely to have it. I think we ran into a problem, if I remember correctly. I don't know if the door's wide enough for a wheelchair.
well, that's exactly,
Yeah,
what,
That's what we ran into the last time we looked at it.
well, yeah, that's what we need to take a look at.
So you was starting at the door and, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for a whole gut job, but just to save some skin off the city and.
We could all get together and work on it as a team between you livestock and
Yeah, I've asked
Chanukka
people,
committee.
you know, how they got their grant and what they used, and, they're supposed to get that paperwork, and I was gonna hand it over to Ken and to Mr. Tibbs. So. All right, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jerry. Council to give reports. Right, you got anything?
No, sir.
I don't have any.
John?
I don't have anything, thank you.
Discuss financial statements if needed.
Motion to adjourn.
Adjourn, second by all those in favor? Thank you.
Thank you. For the, you could remind Melissa and call me. I just want to make sure we do the agenda.
That spot, did you get that spot?